So there's another question that came up, and because if you want to move in a new country, sometimes it can be very challenging. And one of the things that people look at is like, how does the weather look like in that new country? So some questions came up from you, and most of you are asking like, how is the weather in Ireland? Like right now, we are in autumn. We are not yet in winter. I hope you don't mind the disorganization of my our small apartment here. Just came back from my trip, and I was playing a bit with my son, so there's a lot of stuff there. I just want to show you from our living room window so that you can see. You see that is just the road behind our house. So um, just have a look. Like there's a farm behind there. That's a farm, and yeah, those are sheep. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's basically that's not snow. It's actually the ground is frozen, and it's like 1 degree right now as we speak. So it can be 1 degree, but it doesn't feel like 1 degree because, as you can see, I have a t-shirt, so you can adapt over time. When I moved here, it was difficult for me the very first time. I remember um, I landed on an Ethiopian airline. It was in January, and January is one of the coldest months. Sometimes there's snow in Ireland in January, and if I can remember that flight, when I just got off the plane and in Nairobi, I got on the plane. I normally have this character of putting on, dressing not so heavy because you don't want people to be telling you to remove your belts at the airport, to remove your shoes and all that. So I was just putting on loafers, no socks, no heavy dressing. So I jumped on a flight, ET302, if I can remember, to Addis Ababa Ethiopian airline. Then there was this flight. They call it a direct flight, not non-stop flight. So it's a direct flight from Addis to Dublin, but the flight basically flies to Brussels for a technical stop. So a technical stop is whereby it stops to fuel, and some people get off of the plane, and the ones who are continuing the journey, they continue onwards to Dublin. And then, because I think Ethiopian airline does not have like an arrival gate, you don't arrive at the air gate in Dublin at the airport. So the plane arrives over there at the it arrives at the tarmac. So the tarmac, to point, was like, you see over there, where the trees are. And I just got in, like, that's my son in the background. Hi, hi, hi. Go, I'm coming. I'm coming. Yeah, so he's crying because he's feeling cold. Are you feeling cold? Why are you feeling cold? Yeah, because he's feeling cold. So I'll just take care of him before I come back. Just 1 minute. Okay, back to my Ethiopian Airlines story. It's actually freezing here, and he was here. He was shaking like it's really cold. He's calling. He doesn't know how to differentiate between snow and frozen, so he wanted me to cover him up because he just got out of the bathroom and he was feeling cold. But myself, I'm kinda adapted. I even have shorts, as you can see. So when I arrived at Dublin Airport and we got off the plane, you see the staircase. I don't know. I think that's how it's called, the staircase. I remember the first thing, I had black jeans and like a black pair of jeans, and I had a t-shirt. Then I had this orange jacket that I have. I think it's still in my house. It was not so heavy, but I bought it in Gikomba secondhand market, secondhand clothes market. So I got off the plane, and just the wind, because Ireland is just so windy. It's crazy because it's the first piece of land from the Atlantic Ocean. So when the wind, I don't know what's the name of those wind, when the wind come from the west, this is the first piece of land that interact with. So it was just like, whoo. That was the wind. And I froze like my jeans. The jeans that I was putting on, they just froze. And, my hands were so frozen. I didn't have gloves and I didn't have all that. So I got off the plane and ran through the tarmac like I was like very quick to the arrival terminal through immigration. And there was this door, if you know Dublin Airport, like once you get out, like the arrival terminal. So once you get out, you're sitting out there and, where people meet people. And there's this automatic door that keeps on opening, shoo, shoo. So every time the door opens, there's this cold wind that is getting in. I sat there and I was asking myself, oh my God, where have I come from? Why have I come here? I came from Nairobi and it was around 26 degrees Celsius, and now I was dealing with -2 degrees, -3 degrees. It was not snowy because it doesn't get very snowy here, but it gets really cold. Snow is just a little bit of snow, like, one that you can even walk in driving, but it gets extremely cold. So if you're planning to come here, just know that you will deal with that. Then lesson number 2, the rain. Oh my God, like this place can rain like almost every day, and it's not that kind of rain like tropical rainfall, the one that it just rains like 2 hours and heavy rain and it's done. It can just be drizzling like the whole day, and it's this cold water falling on you, and the wind is like 45 kilometers per hour of wind. So I came with I had a very nice umbrella because I googled and I saw like, oh, Ireland is very Ireland can be very windy, and not windy, it can be very rainy, like almost every day is a rainy day. When I was new, I was waiting for like a good weather day to go out, but every day was just like every day you're waiting for the good weather, you'll never step out because every day was just like rainy and cold, and I was putting on layers and layers of clothes. I'll show you maybe pictures of this, and maybe you can follow me on Facebook, and you'll just see, like, if you check my history, you'll see me dressed heavily like an Eskimo. So, and I don't take coffee, so there's no way of warming up myself. And one day I was coming from church, so I checked out the weather, and it looked like it was going to rain. So I carried a blue umbrella that I brought from Kenya. It was a nice big umbrella, really strong. So I went to church. My landlord drove me to church, so there was no problem. So she left me there, and I was supposed to walk back home, and it was like almost 2 kilometers walk to home. Then there was this storm in 2020, that the big storm in the UK and in Ireland. If I remember the name, I think Storm Kieran. I didn't know what a storm was. Like, you come from a place where storms, when you talk about storming, finding people unprepared. You're storming into my meeting. But now this was my first storm that I was going to encounter. So I'm coming to church. It's raining. It's windy with my umbrella. Umbrella, shoo, in the air. That was the last time I ever had an umbrella here. So 2 things. It is very cold. Actually, 3 things. It can get really cold in autumn and spring and winter. It can get really cold. Then number 2, it can get really wet, like rainy. So a poncho, that black overall that you put on, that is the one that can just save you here mostly. Then number 3, the wind. Like the wind, the wind we have, like, if you check, they're double glazed, and when they say double glazed, what they mean is that you see there's a glass over the outer glass and the inner glass, so it's just to keep the heat, and there's a lot of rubber around the doors here. The purpose of that rubber is just to block cold air and draft, they call it draft, from getting into the house. So I hope you've gotten it about the weather, but it doesn't mean that you cannot adapt, because human bodies just adapt. Like today, we didn't turn on the heating because cold, so you have this. That's the heating. So it gets it warms up the house. You can see down here my son's toys are there. So it heats up the house. So it's not that cold, but when it gets cold, that's what we just turn on and use. Over here, you see, we have set the way we have set. We have set to just around 17 degrees. So when it gets colder than 17 degrees, then the heating turns on. But I turned off the heating because the bills are going like really high. And yeah, so that's what normally, like, we use technology. The technology here can help you. Like almost all houses have this this thing here. Yeah, so we have this one for I don't know if you can see, that's for the heating. When I press that button, then you can see plus 1 hour. When I press it, plus 2 hours, and you can hear like it has turned on. The boiler is over there. That's what boils the is the one that boils the oil, and the oil runs into that radiator over there. So let me turn it off because we don't need it, because in my house people are still sleeping. And then the water, we use this one. For the water, you press this one. So when I press this one once, it will heat water for 1 hour. When I press twice, it will heat water for 2 hours. When I press this for 3 hours. But we have set auto, meaning that it automatically turns on at around 5 in the morning, and then it heats up the water. About like taking a cold bath, so you will survive when you come. Like there's technology that is there, and this is just like common. It's standard in most of the houses. In all houses, actually all houses have heating, either electric. Our heating is gas, but some houses will have electric heating. But also we sometimes what we do, especially in the night, because you don't want to turn on the heating. Like we have like a 2-bed apartment, so there's a radiator here, there's a radiator in the master and suite, there's a radiator in the guest bathroom, there's a radiator in my son's room. So when we are all in our bedroom, so we don't have to turn on the radiator in the living room, and the radiator in the other side, in the other bedroom, and also another radiator in the bathroom. So that's just waste of energy. So what we do, we use a hot water bottle. You just boil hot water, put in that bottle, then you close it and put in your blanket and stay in bed. It is normally there, but it's not there. This is for those ones who know technology. This is VR. For VR, like I'm doing some research on how can I integrate VR as an anthropologist. My research in ethnography and virtual reality. So that's the Oculus Quest. So I'm hoping to buy Quest 2, but that one I just learned from work. So yeah, so basically that's it about the weather. I'll keep posting you. So don't worry, you'll adapt. Number one, like I adapted, because you see I have a t-shirt and it's like -1 degree out there when you check. Number two, the houses will have heating, so don't worry about that. Number three, when you step out, dress warmly. Number four, don't use an umbrella, because the wind will carry out the umbrella. So just put on like a raincoat. That's what we call it. Then number five, don't go out on stormy days, because when they give this different status, so there is status yellow and there is status red. So status yellow is like, it's dangerous, like, it's an advisory. But when they give status red, even the universities close, shops close, shopping malls close, places close, because they don't want people to be going out there. And I remember there's a time when we had like the very last storm. My son was so scared in the house, and he was saying like, daddy, there's a monster, because the wind was just blowing at around 60 kilometers per hour. And yeah, so that's Ireland for you. So that if you're preparing to come here, just know what you'll be coming, putting yourself into. But like, it's a good place. You can see like I am glowing. If you see pictures of me there on Facebook, you'll be surprised. Nilikuwa nimechapa. I had beaten, but God is good. Like, we thank God for everything, and we'll keep supporting you guys. Like, ask me any question. I'll just support you, because it's very bad to be selfish with information and just keeping information to yourself. Thanks, and see you in the next video.